I'm very pleased to be joined again by Jordan Bateman, BC Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. We're going to talk a little bit tax that's going on here in BC and a little bit about Translink, because you guys sent out a press release last week talking about how in the sort of aftermath of the defeat of the transit referendum, that the tax that they were attempting to put on us here in the Lower Mainland, that Translink actually found some savings. Tell me a little bit about it and whether you're optimistic that they're going to use it for the right purpose.
Well, it really is a miracle, isn't it, that when you say no to politicians and giving them more taxes, they go back, sharpen their pencils, and actually find efficiencies within the system. So when we voted on the sales tax last year, Translink was planning to put exactly zero of their own money towards the $7.5 billion capital plan. Now, magically, they found $250 million that they can put towards the first phase of the plan. Look, there's more that can be done, especially in City Hall. It's not just at Translink, but across the whole local government sector. But, credit where credit's due. They have gone back, found some efficiencies, and are putting it towards this new plan. So that's good news. There is some bad news. There's some tax increases. We're going to push the mayors to offset those with property tax reductions in their own city halls. That's going to be a little bit tricky because none of them want to give a break to taxpayers, but that's the angle we're going to push.
Yeah, I was always pessimistic, even in the defeat of the tax, that they would just find some other way to get us, maybe even in some even more inequitable way, like an increase in the gas tax or some road pricing potentially. Is that still a possibility that's coming?
Yeah, so this is only for the first phase of the Trudeau media money. They still have the second phase, which, fortunately for us, Trudeau would have to be reelected twice before they would get the full bulk of the money. But there is planning that's going on for it. That'll be the big one. They're already pushing road pricing, which is just another way to gouge drivers. We already pay 48 cents per litre in gas taxes in the Lower Mainland, second highest in the country, behind only Newfoundland. I'm sorry, Newfoundlanders, you're ahead of us. We pay that already. That already is road pricing, right? I mean, you drive, you pay more in gas taxes. But now they want to add a per kilometre tax on top of that. We're going to fight that tooth and nail, and we're going to demand it goes to referendum and be approved by voters.
That's great to hear. I noticed in the press release you did give a solution to how they could fund this part of the mayor's tax plan, the regional mayor's tax Translink plan, I should say. Could you explain to our viewers what exactly that would be? Yeah,
so the dirty little secret in City Hall politics in the Lower Mainland is that they've had an average of 5% in revenue growth every single year for more than a decade, including during the recession years. So 5% more in revenue at all these city halls at Translink and Metro Vancouver. If they allocated just 0.3% of that 5% to their plan, they could pay for everything. It really is amazing to think that the highest priority, as they say it is, in the region, they're not willing to put any of the city hall money towards, but they're expecting to tax us more to get it.
I'm sure that just goes to expanding the public sector and the union jobs and those sorts of things, unfortunately.
You're right, and this is actually an important point. So every year we see property tax increases in the Lower Mainland from all these different city halls. The vast majority, as much as 95% of that money, goes to salary, wages, and benefits for civic staff. So we're not getting any further ahead, which is why they're going to all sorts of crazy little gimmicks like infrastructure taxes, like road replacement taxes. They're adding all these other taxes to try to cover the fact that their money goes to pay for bad union contracts.
All right, so I think that sort of gives us a little bit of an update on Translink, but we're about 7 weeks in now to the Premier and the BC government's new foreign buyers tax, 15% on properties here in the Lower Mainland that go to people that are not residents or not citizens of Canada. It's hard to sort of tell what the data is showing so far. There's a lot of maybe obfuscation from the real estate industry sometimes on these numbers, but is it sort of cooling the market, or are we just seeing maybe a lull, or are we seeing people maybe take their money from the overseas buyers, take them to Calgary and Toronto instead?
Yeah, a little of everything. Seattle as well is seeing a big uptick. So it's all over the map as to what's happening right now. And the truth is the market was cooling before this tax came in. It just wasn't sustainable as it was. We are seeing some money apparently go to Seattle, go to Toronto, go to Alberta, which of course is a good place to invest given what the NDP has done to that province. Why wouldn't you go and buy some cheap housing there? The problem is we have no idea what the goal of this government is. We still don't know whether the government wants to generate money out of this tax or completely snuff out foreign buyers. They've never said. We don't have any amount of money yet that we know that's come in. So it's all nebulous until we get the facts from the finance minister.
Right. And the other tax is the city of Vancouver, very, very small region, just 650,000 residents, but they believe that there is a big vacant home problem. So Gregor and City Council are looking to pass a vacant home tax. There's still a lot of details to be figured out. I did a report on this earlier. I basically speculated that it may lose the city money in the end, just because it'll be so difficult to enforce. But even if it is a loser, but it gets more units on the rental market, could they try to spin it as a win potentially?
Oh, they'll spin it as a win no matter what. But from the vacant minds who run Vancouver City Hall, we bring you a vacancy tax. Look, this is a personal property right issue for me, right? You buy a home, you buy a condo, you buy property. You have a right to use it as you see fit, as long as you're not hurting other people. And, if you decide to leave a condo empty for a year because you're traveling overseas or you're on sabbatical or, you're in a divorce or whatever the reason is, that's up to you. Why should the government come in and take that away from you and tax you and demand that you use it the way they see fit? I have a real problem with that. And I think it's a slippery slope. If this doesn't increase vacancy, what's next, right? Oh, grandma, you have 2 empty rooms in your single family home because you're an empty nester. Maybe we should be forcing you to rent those out. Oh, you have an empty suite. Maybe you should be forced. This is just really ugly. It's bad. It's bad public policy. Great politics for the mayor, but terrible public policy for the rest of us.
All right, Jordan Bateman, BC Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, and I'm Christopher Wilson for the Rebel.media.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.